speech.
Oh, okay.
Not really, but
Okay, folks, we now have internet contact, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. We have a quorum. Don't forget to silence your gadgets. And I'm not gonna mention anything to the audience since we don't have
oh,
one.
I bet them all. Yes,
But we'll begin as we do with an invocation and then the pledge, Julie, and then Bob.
We don't even have an audience today, huh?
We got Apollo.
We got
one.
Oh, yeah, we do have Apollo.
Apollo is here.
All right, pray with me. Father, on this inauguration left week, I lift up all our newly installed federal government officials and ask that you guide them as they make decisions on our county's safety and being fiscally responsible again. We lift up our legislature in Lansing and pray you guide them to work together to make decisions to serve all of the people of Michigan. Father, I also lift up everyone in this room to listen and guide our county so that the next generation can live, work, and pass on the beauty of the place we call home. In your son's name I pray. Amen.
Please join with me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, when you're ready, will you please call the roll?
Beth?
Here.
Kern?
Here.
Freeland?
Present. God, I keep forgetting that. Harrison,
Here.
Present.
Chokwe, Pippert, sorry, Pittsburgh. Walrath, there you go. Werfel.
Here.
Yarborough,
Yes.
Elliott.
present.
you have 10 present and 2 absent.
Thank you. We have minutes from last week. Haven't heard about any changes to those minutes. Is there a motion to approve as prepared and submitted by the clerk? Moved by Volrath, supported by Werfel. She just beat you. It was a close call.
It was Terry.
It was me.
Oh, Terry, okay.
Beat you.
Just the hearing aid. So Volrath and Freeling. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Have we communications this week?
Yes, we have 2 emails, one on January 17th from the Southwest Michigan Tourist Council, your guide to winter hiking trails. And then January 21st from the Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber on how to get your tickets for the 2025 Business Recognition Breakfast. That is all the communications.
Thank you. When is that breakfast? Does anyone know?
Yeah, I'll double check. the
Okay.
other day.
While we're doing that, any one in the public wish to comment on the resolutions that are on the agenda?
February 21st.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to the consent calendar. Anybody want anything pulled, or are we good to go? If we're good, a motion would be appreciated. Moved by Harrison, supported by Volrath. All in favor of approving the consent calendar is, well, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Discussion, because I wish to again note that on resolution B 25010062, reference number 75912 for Rev Excavating, I'm abstaining
Got it.
in the requisition. Thank you.
Thanks. And you'll
Apollo,
verify that
please.
with the clerk for the minutes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Just a quick follow-up, you'd asked a question about when the Chambers breakfast is. It's Friday, February 21st, 7:30 a.m. And that's at Lake Michigan College in, I believe, the Mendel Center.
Thank
And
you.
we have one of our departments.
We do have a nomination has been submitted on behalf of the Parks Department. And then to the board, if you check your email inboxes, you should have an invite from the chamber. If you have any need for help on responding to that invite, just let me know. I'll happily
And it
assist.
is important because of the voting that goes on.
Yeah, so it's live voting at the event. The last breakfast, I think, had close to 600 people there. So the more you can crowd the room, the better. And if we want, yes.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you, Sheriff, as well. Before I lose track of this, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Hunt,
Yes.
Freeling. Yes. Harrison.
Yes.
Ott. Yes. Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Lorraine.
Yes.
Purple. Yes. Scarborough.
Yes.
Bell.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, we'll move to committee reports. Mr. Chair of PHS.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met this morning. We had a number of items to consider. Annette was with us, and we went through board appointments for the opioid oversight committee as well as Southwestern Michigan Planning Commission. And so those will be coming to you at a later date. We also had reviewed and approved a resolution entering into an agreement with Midwest Strategy Group for consulting services. So you'll see that at a later date. Maureen was with us talking about the Soldiers and Sailors Relief Fund. A very interesting walk back in history over that fund and where it came from and its current status. So we had a good discussion and went into great detail on that. And she'll be coming with some recommendations to the Personnel and Human Services Committee about some changes to be made, as well as ways to promote that fund. And then we had the privilege of having both the chairman and the administrator with us. We talked about a variety of topics involving software issues as well as staffing. And so that concludes our meeting.
Questions for PHS? All right, next on the list, Mr. Chair of Admin.
Thank you, Mac. First in to see us this morning is our County Prosecutor, Amy Bird. This is the first time she's been before our committee. The last time she was scheduled, she had to dismiss herself because she had jury duty. She did not get selected. Anyway, she said overall, her office is doing well. She did say of huge concern to her that nothing new that we haven't heard is the problems with the J-Works. She's having issues with criminal histories being uploaded, bond information, PPOs, the list goes on. She was still in the room reporting to us when the chair and Brian came in. And so we're going to have a joint meeting, committee of the whole, so everyone can hear what the issues are and hopefully the possible solutions. If you recall, I reported out, I don't know what, a month or so ago, when Carrie reported to us at admin about those problems. And apparently nothing's being done, or it's not being done fast enough. So they're going to come in and explain to us. She also talked to us about an issue with WMed. That's our autopsies medical examiner. We've entered into contracts with him ever since, Dr. Clark passed away. So we've been with him for quite a while, but there are issues with them. Part of it is when they have a doctor who's hired by WMed do an autopsy for us that might be a criminal case, and then leaves the employ of WMed, and that case goes to trial, that doctor is now subpoenaed as a non-WMed employee. So in other words, they are not bound by any of their rules and regulations. So what they're doing is they are billing the prosecutor's office as an expert witness. And she said she's got one sitting on her desk right now for $17,000. So she said that is becoming a problem. She also said the doctors who are leaving WMed are also dodging subpoena service. They're not letting them serve them with the subpoenas. And essentially, if you don't have that doctor there for that particular criminal case, it's going to get dismissed. So she said that's an issue. We kind of went back at her and said, okay, is there another solution? Give us some ideas. If WMed isn't working, what is an alternative? So I think she's going to talk to Brian, maybe talk to the sheriff, see if there are alternatives to it. As a spinoff to that, she also said that the lab services that they're using are out of state. And she thinks it would be preferable if they could use a lab locally. And right away, we jumped in with, what about Andrews? I mean, they do a lot of the marijuana, they do some of the arson cases, so maybe they could do this as well. So she's gonna check into that. She's gonna let Brian know and see if there are alternatives and if there are other things that we can do. After Amy, we did have the chair and Brian in to see us. I think Brian went over with us the same things he went over with all the other committees. So there's nothing new there. We do have and approved a property use request. This is a renewal. This is the coffee and cars guy. And he submits this every year for multiple dates. So we are now just now getting this and approving this. The dates, May 11th, June 14th, June 15th would be a backup or a rain date. August 9th, August 10th, a rain date, September 14th, and October 11th with October 12th as a rain date. So we did approve that. We approved our minutes and we did go through all the recommendations that Annette gave us for the 911 and the citizens rep. And so I don't know when they're going to come to the whole board, but we did that today and we approved that today. And that is our report.
Questions for admin? I have one on WMed. Has there been any discussion about revising the contract with them to provide that anyone who does medical examiner work under that contract, that there will be a tail on the contract that obliges him or her to be available to testify based on the work they did when under the employ of WMed? Has that been discussed at all?
That was discussed, that we took it one step further, that we would then have to ask WMed to enter in a contract with that particular attorney, so that when they leave WMed's employee, once they leave their employee, they're not bound by those rules. So if they entered into a contract with WMed and just basically in that contract says that you will report for subpoenas locally to testify.
Yeah,
So we did talk about that. I didn't ask Amy when the contract was up because I don't think it's up. I thought we just renewed it.
we did. It
So-
would really be a matter of the, whoever the administrator is for WMed, looking at the contracts they have with the doctors. I assume they have employment contracts with them. And adding a provision, some kind of a addenda to the contract that says part of the deal is you will give testimony if called upon to do so within a certain period of time after you leave. Subject to reimbursement per diem and travel expenses and such. They could fix this or go a long way toward fixing it. As far as a $17,000 bill for an expert, this isn't a civil proceeding where they get to bill like that. The court can require them to appear, and the court can then decide what is a reasonable fee. Because they were being paid when they did the work anyway. It's not like an outside expert who has to come in, review it, and provide a third-party opinion. So I hope the prosecutor's office is aware that there is a mechanism, actually two. One, they can compel them to appear, they can pick them up and bring them in, and then the court will decide after they testify what is an appropriate fee. I can tell you it's not $17,000.
Well, and I think that's why Amy also threw in there the fact that they're dodging subpoenas. You got to find them first.
Sheriff, do we ever work with the Marshal Service on things like that?
So the issue on one of the cases I know, it's not that the person is local. I think there are several states away, like maybe California.
Okay,
So that I think caused part of the issue. And like Jim said, I was aware there with the subpoena issue, but it is a big problem for us because those cases could go away without that testimony. So
I thought there had been an amendment on the rules of criminal procedure and evidence that allowed for someone to testify via Zoom. Or what's the other one, Microsoft Teams or something like that. So, because the right to confront witnesses against you these days doesn't always mean the right to confront them in the same room and airspace. But if someone's in California, we can domesticate a subpoena, California, to compel someone to appear and give sworn testimony. May still have to track them down to do it, and that's where the marshals come in handy because they work interstate.
like you said, they would just need the court order to do it. So.
Yeah, okay. Well, might be worth following up.
Okay, then after hearing this discussion, then Brian, would you and Thaddeus hook up with Amy?
Mhm.
And you've heard what the chair said,
Yep.
maybe see if we can give her some remedy without redoing the contract, because we just did it, but
Well, and we might still need to have WMed do things with
All
their contract and corporate counsel, that'd be on the to-do list to check as well as the, MRE and the rules of criminal procedure about testifying electronically, remotely. I know they had stuff in place during COVID. I just don't know if it has survived the end of the pandemic. So,
okay, thank you for
All right.
that discussion.
sure, thank you. Anything for admin? All right, Madam Chair of Finance.
Thank you very much. We met this with Administrator Doucette, with Chairperson Elliott, and with Drain Commissioner McManus. And we talked about Eagle, how important this meeting will be. Administrator asked us to let him know who could come. And as we go along, it's not until February 5th, he'll have it tightened up to how many hours, what room we'll meet in, and all of that, and keep us up to date on the information. But it's very important, but there are a number of things not thought about that Administrator and our council will be talking about, because the Open Meetings Act, or how many commissioners are there, or a lot of things that you don't just jump in a room. Well, we know that. So this set will keep us up to date and have us doing the right thing. We did accept the minutes. Let me see. I'm trying to, the Drain McManus, the Drain Commissioner, made nice reports to us. He is working with Eagle and with the different communities and all to get the caught up and where should we be. Are there any other things? Oh, did Riante leave?
He stepped out for a moment.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. That's my report.
Questions for finance?
Oh, excuse me, please.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. We did have waivers. We didn't have any bids, but we had two waivers. They were both for the road department. One was for Lakeshore Body Shop. It was a repair to a Ram truck. It had been in a wreck. Then Everett County Electric, labor and materials to install new ceiling fans at the Benton Harbor Garage. And we concurred and agreed those things should be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Does that stimulate any questions? Finance? Okay, then we'll move to commissioner reports. We'll go clockwise.
No report.
No report.
No report.
No report.
No report, but we do have land bank at 1 o'clock today.
No report.
No report.
All the way around.
Woo, woo. Look at that. Let's go. Everybody buy a lotto ticket. I just said the same thing. She said no report.
Okay, well, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just hit the top and we're on the downward slide for the rest of the day. That's Looks smooth sailing.
Does that have, it's going to do the?
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna do we gotta do administrator report, general public comments, then we'll get to the appointments and other business. Do you have anything?
I've got 30 minutes of planned comments.
Okay, well.
No, sir.
All right, other business. So we have board appointments. I'm assuming Apollo is being taken care of somewhere else. So we'll do board appointments, and then I studied Roman history and Greek mythology. I have some thoughts to share on Apollo, who was the god of all kinds of things, from archery to music to you name it. And one of the major players amongst the gods. Anyway, we've got this batch of appointments here. Corporate counsel, do we need to read each name into the record, or can the appointments be posted on the website as part of the minutes of this meeting?
I think we can include the names in the minutes. I don't think there's any need to read them out loud.
All right, unless anyone wants them read, what we'll be doing is we have recommendations for Health and Human Services Board, Southwest Michigan Planning Commission, Opioid Settlement Oversight Committee. And, you know, we already appointed 3 commissioners to that last week. Recommendations from finance for the Land Preservation Board and the Public Transportation Local Advisory Committee. An appointment to the County Planning Commission. Actually, a few appointments there, 3. Admin committee recommendations for appointments to Police Services, Fire Chiefs Association, Medical Control Authority, EMS, and I think we have Chris Swihart going on there as well, and that's all to the Public Safety Communications Center Operations Committee, all those folks. And 911 Advisory Board appointments, about half a page worth. The Community Correction Advisory Board goes over onto the last page. You see a couple people there, Judge Bruce and Chief Newbecker. So we have all of those, which are board appointments. Is there a motion to approve all of those appointments as recommended?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Kern. Is there support? Okay, supported by Volrath. Any discussion about those? Hearing none, all in, yes, ma'am.
I'd like to, thank you. I'd like to have the opportunity to talk about the recommendations for appointment to the Berrien County Planning Commission. I'd like to take a little bit of time and ask you all to be open. What I wanted to talk about is the fact that we had 2 vacancies on that committee, plus 1 reappointment. And a number of applicants had applied. And there were 3 of us in our on our committee. 4 is the number, and John Hinkleman is out of the country. And so I just want to explain to you the fact that the reappointment has been kind of shaky. It is, the person in the position is Alex Little. He's been on the Planning Commission for quite some time. As you see, he's constantly being appointed to more and more jobs with the city of Benton Harbor. And because it gave us concerns about his availability when his term was up at the end of December. Before that, Annette sends out and says, do you want to be reappointed? Do you want to do da, 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 da? And all of that information was sent to Administrator, City Manager, Alex Little. And he did send in an application. We've tried to have conversations, but that has not worked. And so what happened in our meeting, and I want you all to know, is that a motion was made by Commissioner Terry Freeling, supported by Commissioner Reante Bell, and then much discussion to not reappoint Alex Little back to the Planning Commission. I voted no, I voted yes, that he should be reappointed. I know there are rules, there are policies, there are rules about how many you can miss and how it goes. I understand that. But I have great concern for the representation that's in my community on all boards. And it may not be the board's fault. Maybe it's our fault that we do not apply, that we, when we're appointed, do not attend properly, da, 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 da. But I do not want to have a Berrien County Planning Commission and the city of Benton Harbor is not on there. And when I say city, we may have some people that live in that area or that's their address for 9022. But I'm talking about in the government, where things need to be known from the other communities about Benton Harbor. A brand new person is not going to be able to tell that. And then I'm prejudiced. I want us to be properly represented on this board. And when we was able to look up names, and thank you, Annette, for all the things, we had a good representation from Niles. Well, now we're appointing a Niles person, but in Stevensville, St. Joe, could you help me, New Buffalo, Coloma. So how can you do that? And the city of Benton Harbor is not represented. And it may be, like I said, someone that lives in the community, but the things that are needed and are known are in Alex Little. I don't know what his availability is, but it has been a problem. And so I still voted to reappoint him, but I understand the rules and I'm not mad or anything, but I want you all to know that I'm not just here. I'm listening and I try to encourage people to apply, but I can't tell you they're going to come, they're going to be prepared. I can't tell you any of those things, not even in my own house would I send some of them, but I want you all to know that I'm not going to go down easy and I'm not voting for Alex Little not to be reappointed to this board. Thank you.
We can do a separate vote as to the 3 appointments to the Berrien County Planning Commission. The motion and support, if amended to exclude the appointment of the 3 individuals to the Berrien County Planning Commission, would that be okay so we can move through this list of appointments? Okay, good for your first, that we move to approve all except for the moment, the 3 appointees to the Berrien County Planning Commission.
Okay, so you want me to amend my motion to exclude the recommendation by the Finance Committee? Is that what you're asking me to do?
Or just to exclude the reference to the Berrien County Planning Commission from the motion? It would be a motion to approve all except for the moment, the Berrien County Planning Commission appointments.
And then we're going to vote on those separate?
Yeah. Is that okay? Jim, you made, all right.
And can I support it?
Yeah, you could, well, we're not
Or
dealing
leave it
with the
alone?
Planning Commission right now. We're
Right.
dealing with everything else.
Okay, I'd like to support this.
Okay, well, Dave already supported it.
Oh, okay.
So we're right now
I
ready
can't
to
hear.
take a vote.
I just talk to my
And
ear
if everyone's okay with that, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Okay. The appointments on this list have been approved other than the board appointment for the Berrien County Planning Commission. Let's address that now separately. Does anyone know if Mr. Little had been on the Planning Commission, what was his attendance? Ma'am.
So I serve as the liaison for this board. I was one who voted against the reappointment because of Mr. Little's attendance. It was less than 75%. I don't actually have the numbers in that. I know we had that submitted to us as a finance committee for review a couple weeks back. I know that there was a conversation that happened with Mr. Little of just, the concerns and addressing those and whether or not he wished to proceed.
Did he respond? How did he respond?
He would take it under advisement.
Ah,
I don't know if those were the exact words.
Yeah, it's paraphrase.
I paraphrased it because again, this is
so
handed down.
you got a non-response response, basically.
And so that was one of the reasons, because of me serving on this board, that I look at all of the other applications that we had submitted and what needs to be filled on the planning commission, because there's different areas of service
Yeah.
that need to be fulfilled. And looking at also the demographics within the county and where those geographical areas are represented, and trying to do our best to make sure we have full coverage. That ultimately is a reason why my vote was the way it was. Attendance does not meet county policy.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, so my reservations, kind of align with Commissioner Freeling's. Just availability concerns, as well as, when he was available, there were some concerns as well. And so, I echo Commissioner Yarborough's sentiments, as far as wanting the city of Benton Harbor to be represented, because there's a lot that a person like Mr. Little, having the institutional knowledge and experience in governmental roles, can actually play and contribute to our county planning commission. And that is why I did suggest that if there is someone that Mr. Little can recommend to apply for this opening. But at the same time, as Annette had expressed, these are vacancies that we can't necessarily sit on. We do have an obligation to fill that vacancy. And so I do, in this open meeting, want to encourage any other representative of the city of Benton Harbor to, when these vacancies arise, to submit applications and talk to city leadership, because their voice and their contributions are important and are desired here at the county. And so if there's a problem with the recommendation that we made to fill the vacancy now, I just want to, reiterate that I do encourage someone from the city to apply and be a part of this committee.
Thank you, all three of you. I understand Mr. Little has recently been hired as city manager.
Yeah.
He's been involved in government in different capacities for many years. And I echo Ray's comments about how beneficial it is to have someone with institutional memory serving on any number of boards that we have, including Planning Commission. But for his voice to be heard, he actually has to attend the meetings. And absent a willingness to commit to attending consistently, then we are wasting a spot, because it's been filled by someone who's absent too often. That's not on us. That's a matter of, typically it's a matter of your order of priorities, the choices you make. And it could be that being city manager is taking all the available time. I understand, I respect that. But Madam Chair of Finance, I would respectfully suggest that we approve the individuals who are willing to serve. We'll have an opening at the end of this calendar year. Maybe we could revisit the appointment of Mr. Little at the end of 2025. Again, assuming he's willing to commit to attending and participating in a meaningful way, because we rely on the folks that we appoint to help. They serve a vital role. And if we've got an empty seat, it's like having an oar in the boat that has no hands on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't want you to change anything in that the vote, we voted to reappoint Alex Little and it failed. That's it. It
Okay.
failed.
All
So
right,
rather than putting all of you all, and it, I want you to know what my feelings are, and I don't have a solution. I
well,
wish I did.
we're about to find one, ma'am.
I'd just like to make the motion to approve the nominees for the Berrien County Planning Commission.
The three? Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Warfel, supported by Freeling. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, those in favor
Would you
of,
call the roll,
sure.
please?
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Yes.
Yes.
Out of it. I'm gonna start over. Freely,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Ott,
Yes.
Pittsford,
Yes.
Bullrath,
Yes.
Werfel,
Yes.
Yarborough,
No.
Bell,
Yes.
McKinley,
Also known as Elliot.
Elliott, sorry. Sorry, I keep
But
doing
you
that.
got a lot
I
of
wanna call
names.
everybody by their first name
First
today.
name is on, first name is
That's all right.
on.
First name's on today.
I got it.
Sorry,
Actually,
Curran.
it's actually
Yes.
my middle name, but it's a yes. You can call me Richard, if that would confuse
I don't-
everybody.
Yeah.
First name.
Sorry.
Anyway, okay, so those three folks are appointed. That gets us to the last page. Thank you, Mimi, for sharing that. On the last page, there's like about a dozen or more appointments for the chair. So we'll reappoint folks on the list to various MAC committees. Steve Bullrath, General Government Finance, Judiciary, Public Safety, Riante Bell, same Judiciary and Public Safety. Julie Werfel, Health and Human Services, Agriculture and Tourism. Terry Freeling to MAC Planning Commission?
No, this
No,
is our
okay,
very
Planning
end.
Commission, okay, sorry. And then reappoint Julie and Dave and Jim, the Southwestern Michigan Planning Commission as our board representatives. Reappoint, or Julie and Mamie to the Workforce Development Board, those terms end the end of 27. Bob to Area Agency on Aging, or Dave rather, and then Bob to the Human Services Council. Terry to Housing Resource Network. Unless Deb Panazzo surfaces and says I want to be back there.
I made an error, I'm sorry.
There's
Okay.
two errors, actually.
Oh, there's two errors?
Yeah,
Really?
All right, I just read what's given to me.
I know, I'm sorry.
Amazing.
So this is
Raising
supposed to
our
be
hands
Terry
over
to Southwest Michigan Planning instead of Dave.
Okay,
Dave. And then what's the other?
The other one is MAC changed the name of Ag and Tourism. They combined two committees. So it's now the Environmental and Natural Resources, Agriculture and Tourism Committee.
okay,
Oh,
So just because it's in the record, we should have the right name on.
so Julie's on the MAP Committee for Environmental Resources, Agriculture and Tourism. Okay, all right. We'll probably want to submit a clean list to the clerk sometime today, just to make sure. And then Julie, Terry, Jim to Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. Dave's Area Agency on Aging, Bob, Human Services Council, Terry, Housing Resource Network, Terry, MSUE Regional District Advisory Council, Dave, Southwest Michigan Alliance 3 Committee, AKA SMART, and Pittsford, Southwest Michigan Community Action Agency. Okay, those are all mine to do. They are done. So, yeah, Workforce Development Board.
that's just an addition. We've done some already.
Well, your
Is there
term,
one?
your term now is being moved out to the end of 27.
Oh, okay.
You and
Those are
Julie.
the ones. I
Yeah.
see.
Didn't have Land Bake on here today.
I see, you look like the organization.
Right. Picture Day is March the 6th, so come in looking spiffy.
Dress code, color.
Well, just, it's torso, so Doesn't matter what you wear from the waist down.
Some of us like color and then everybody else didn't like shades who were black.
Yeah, right. The other thing is, I mentioned when Apollo was out of the room, that he is one of the Olympian gods in ancient Greek mythology, also in Roman mythology, is recognized as the god of archery, music and dance, truth and prophecy, healing and diseases, the sun and light, poetry and more. So we take note of his divine origins. Ma'am, what did you have to say?
Yes, what is the name of 911? Oh, what is the name of 911? Today they were saying, and I read it, there's a whole new title for 2100 Empire.
Well, the building or the department, I mean, it's always been.
She said what she was.
Emergency.
What is it called?
Public Safety Communication Center.
Yeah, the county Public Safety Communication Center. When did we start naming it, calling it that?
It's been a while.
We didn't say by resolution it's called, or we don't name buildings.
Not that I recall,
But
but
had you thought about that, have you seen that name?
on the video presentation today, is that what you're referring to?
It's written here, and that's what I thought. When did they become that? I'm not against it. I just had never heard it before.
I will have to double check to see how long that title has been in effect.
We couldn't come up with a name, so we just, who be the address?
It sounds nice.
It does, it is. And I thought, well, we got another building, so we're gonna put it on that. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I mean, for years, we just called it the 2100 building.
That's it.
But I think formally, as noted in her presentation, that is what it is called. And my hunch is that goes back to shortly after we rehabbed that building and opened it. So that's 10 years or more.
We couldn't think of a name.
I think that's what we came up with.
Several of the public safety answering services, PSAPs, they used to call them, when those combined into Berrien County, Niles obviously still has theirs, but when you had St. Joe, Benton Harbor, Benton Township, they all combined. I believe that's when the name changed to Berrien County Public Safety Dispatch Center.
Chuck, do you estimate 15 to 20 years ago?
Not quite.
It's probably close. Time goes faster than we think.
Okay.
I'll say
Yeah.
like 20, well, yeah, it's 2025 now.
Yeah.
I think it was 2009 or 2010, so, yeah, you're right out there. Okay, we're not here next week, so don't come. And if no one has anything else, we stand adjourned.